This is chapter 161 of The Flower of Freedom by Deborah J. Reeves. All rights to both the book and presentation are reserved. We thank you for coming, and we hope that you're in with both feet into our experiment of a virtuous cycle on this beautiful blue-green world. Here we go, now that you've taken your seat or found your comfortable place. We plan to pour about 8 minutes of relaxation and a story into your ears. Chapter 161, The Last Night. Marie and Philippe went into the dining room at 7, and they'd been there for half an hour when Bertie and Bianca came into the dining room. Philippe and Marie kept their eyes down as soon as Philippe noticed Bertie behind the maitre d'. They were committed to giving them the privacy because they had so much to work out. It was Bianca who noticed the striking couple seated in a quiet corner. She lifted her chin, and she marched over to their table with Bertie trailing in her wake. She smiled a radiant smile and asked if they could sit with them. Marie flicked her eyes up to Bertie, and she said, "Hello, Bianca. It's nice to see you. Of course you can sit with us." Bertie's face betrayed some relief. "Order some champagne, Bertie. We have an engagement to celebrate. Let's see that ring." When Marie showed her the ring that meant so much to her, Bianca put on her polite face and tone of voice, but it was obvious that the ring did not meet her standard. Bianca thought she had covered her feelings adequately. Philippe felt a jab in his heart. He wanted Marie to have something that she could feel great about. Marie was surprised that Bianca was at least pretending to be interested. She was not the least bit fazed by Bianca's tone, because she loved her ring, and Bianca's opinion were never all that important to her. It was Bertie who proposed the toast once the champagne arrived, and his toast was tender and kind. At least Bertie was not going back to the way it was, even in front of Bianca. Marie had not hoped for that much progress that soon. Bianca wanted details about the wedding party and who would be included. While not quite accurate, Marie told Bianca that it was still up in the air. "You know how that goes, Bianca. 2 countries, 2 families, school, work. There's a lot to plan." "I remember," Bianca said, beaming up at Bertie. Dinner went well. The newcomers simply asked the waiter to bring them whatever Marie and Philippe were having, and the dishes all came at once. Bertie was watchful and tense, but soon he seemed to relax as dinner progressed. Bianca seemed to have lost weight, Marie noticed. Her face was almost gaunt, and there was an unusual glow in her eyes. If Philippe had to pick a word for it, he thought it would be brittle. She laughed a little bit too loudly and too often. It was always just a bit delayed. Everyone could see that she was trying, though, and that meant a lot to all of the others. They had tried hard to make her feel comfortable. No one mentioned Alicia. Toward the end of the meal, Philippe mentioned that he and Marie were going to take a midnight horse-drawn carriage ride to cap off their wonderful vacation together, because they were checking out tomorrow morning. Bianca jumped right in. "How wonderful! Can we come?" There was no way that Philippe wanted to share the special experience with anyone but Marie. Marie had been so happy when he told her that what he'd arranged for their last night in Quebec City. Then he looked up at Bertie. He could see the sadness in his eyes, and his heart melted. What had Marie said about being inclusive and building community? Philippe looked at Marie, who he knew had been really looking forward to their time together, but her pretty eyes were full of compassion. "Of course you can join us," he said in a voice that was heartier than he felt. The 2 couples went up in the elevator together after dinner, and Philippe and Marie got out first. Marie and Bianca were on a higher floor. As the elevator doors closed, Bertie said, See you in the lobby at 10 to midnight. The doors to the elevator closed and opened again at the proper floor. Bianca retraced their steps to the room. The furnishings were very old world, and they had a weight to them, and a presence. Even Bianca loved the space. Even though Bertie felt like he was walking on eggshells, he was encouraged by the way dinner went. He thought once more about the way Bianca had acted when she first saw him at the airport. She rushed forward as soon as she saw him, and without hesitation, she dove into his arms. She clung. He was taken off guard. He had been nervous about how it would go, and he was certain that he had not expected that reaction. She buried her head in his chest and she cried, "Please, let me back into your heart. I need you to love me, Bertie, please." Bertie was taken off guard, and his heart went out to his wife, the mother of his child. "Shush," he said. "Bianca, I love you. We'll make it through this." He thought that she would let go of him then, but she didn't. He held her there in the middle of the concourse. He smoothed her curls. When she still clung, he asked her if she would like to go to Quebec City for a couple of days to get reacquainted. She pulled back and looked up into his eyes and nodded. She grabbed one of her bags, and he took the rest, and they walked together to the car. After putting the bags into the trunk and sliding into the driver's seat, he put the car in gear, and they drove out of the airport. He found the highway, and they drove west. Now that they were back in the room, the woman at the restaurant, who had so much bravado, disappeared, and the young woman he'd met at the airport reappeared. Bianca turned to Bertie, and she clung to him once more. Before long, they found their way to the bed and toward each other once again. That's the end of chapter 161 of The Flower of Freedom. We hope that you are invested now in the story and in our idea of starting a virtuous cycle in your own life. We thank you for coming. We thank you for at least listening to our idea. And we look forward to seeing you for the next chapter, which is called Once Bitten. Bye-bye.